Hello again, everybody. Jim Hickey, also known as Bass Fishing Tips on Twitter, here with you today from sunny, cold, icy New Hampshire, um, doing a review, or at least a first impressions review, I guess, of a product I recently picked up um, that will help a lot, I think, next season moving forward. Over the last few years, you've seen a few different companies out there come out with slip over rod covers. And one that I've been kind of watching is TRC rod covers. And, in all honesty, initially I didn't give it a whole lot of mind. I didn't really see what was going to work for me at this point in time because I was fishing out of a small boat or actually, as of last year, fishing out of a kayak. And I only had a couple of rods with me, and I thought they'd be pretty well protected, so I didn't think much of it. But like I said, I was fishing out of a kayak, and one of the issues I ran into several times last year was getting rod and reels wet or almost wet for one of a couple of different reasons. There's a set of rod holders built into my kayak behind the seat where I sit. It's a Perception Strike Angler. Um, and they're kind of cool, but when I'd reach around occasionally to grab a rod to change over from one to the other, one rod would hook through the line or guides of another, and all of a sudden you get two coming, and one's trying to go in the water, and that's a pain. The other thing is, anytime you fish out of a canoe or small boat or a kayak, when you're fighting the fish, if you're not anchored, um, the vessel becomes part of your tool for fighting the fish because it's going to move towards the fish as you're fighting it. And if you're working shoreline cover, which I do quite frequently, all of a sudden you're heading into a shoreline cover. Or, maybe you're going into shoreline to retrieve a lure that you happen to get hung up. And of course, when you get in there, what I found was when I went to swing the kayak around and the rods are sitting out behind me, didn't give it much thought until all of a sudden you hear them running into the branches and them getting plucked out and coming out of the rod holders and again scrambling to make sure you didn't lose them. So I decided to acquire a couple of these things, check them out, see if they'll work, and I did so. I acquired one for a spinning rod, 6.5 foot, one, my favorite sizes, and one for a baitcaster. And got the order in yesterday, and here it is on the rod. Sorry for the perception here, kind of doing this off the webcam as opposed to anyplace else. I'll start at the very tip. A couple things I liked about this particular brand, TRC. Got this nice little tip up here that's not only sealed off where the nylon meshing or whatever won't fray, sealed, but there's a piece of foam in here which does two things. It provides an extra sense of protection for your rod tip and supposedly helps it float, which could be kind of handy with a fishing out of kayak. If I go to strip this off and it all of a sudden up in the water, so that could be pretty cool. And of course, when you get down to the end where the business end is, one thing you'll notice is that all of the guides in the line is protected. So a lot of the issues that I had this past year are going to be alleviated. The other thing on their rods, their rod covers, Darren actually goes in and makes sure that the ends down here are sealed again to prevent fraying. So that's another cool little thing. It's going to be highly durable. Nice tight mesh. You won't have to worry about it. I don't see it getting hung up. Really cool. Now, how quickly do these things come off and on? Well, here is the baitcaster one that I have. Okay, end of the bait casting rod. You just basically slip it right on, slip it right down, slip it over the guides, and voila. Number two, baitcaster all ready to go. Pretty cool little deal. When I actually get these things out in the water, when the ice melts and I'm back on the water with the kayak, I'll give you an update at how it looks in the kayak. And after my first time out in the water near trees, make sure that it works the way I think it's going to do. I'll give you another follow-up video. But for now, my thoughts on the TRC rod covers, thumbs up. Give Darren a shout. Let him know on Twitter that you have heard the video and what I thought of them. And go check out their site. I think, if you need rod covers, it'd be a really cool thing. One other thing, I thought of, if I was back in my old days where I had a big bass boat and I had a bunch of rods in a rod locker, what a way because these things, you can get them in different colors. You could actually color code your rods based on the type of lures you have, etc. So something, the applications here, the potentials here are pretty amazing, and I think it's pretty cool. Anyways, Talk to you later. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully spring gets here real soon.